What is this? What are you?
What? Oh, it's
it's
another
a
bog
bilge
hag.
hag. Ow. It's like a water hag.
Remember it? Them slinging mud. Oh, she dematerialized into the water. Ah. Wait.
No, I got her.
You killed her even though she rolled forward?
And her rib cage just kind of.
Well, she wears the rib cage of another person.
Oh, okay. I thought it
Strapped to her
popped out
back.
of her back, and I was gonna be like,
No.
what?
No, they really like using rib cages as backpacks.
Ew. Okay.
The hilarious thing is, I have insect repellent sitting right next to me. And it's not so much repellent as Wander is just far more appetizing.
Yep. And tasty.
Because when we were on our... Whoa! What is... Cool. It's a hermit crab arachnid.
It's an armored arachis.
Mm-hmm. Hence the armor. Oh, look at that face. Just a bunch of contracting mandibles. Yeah, when we were on our study abroad, our bedroom, wasn't it that we had to keep the windows open or everything would be way too humid?
Yeah.
Like
it was
the walls would be coated in water in the morning sometimes. Yep. It was weird. So we had to keep things aerated so that it wouldn't develop all this condensation and dew. And there were, I suppose, bug or mosquito curtains, but the curtains are never good enough.
Yeah, they were not good enough.
And so we would wake up and there'd be quite full and contented mosquitoes sitting on our walls, and I'd smush them. And then Wander would proceed to have bug bites later. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't.
Winds howling.
Whoa. Hold up. I'm gonna be able to finish these guys off.
Ah, because the whole tribe is skull level? Yeah. This doesn't look good. And you're not doing much damage to them either.
Yeah.
This might be a situation where you have to bail and come back later when you're a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're level 34. Yeah, go figure.
Ooh.
I think this whole upper zone is just going to be too high of a level for me, unfortunately. I wanted to do some adventuring. Meh.
What I find really interesting is that Wander is actually the blood type that is said to be most favorable to mosquitoes. Though studies have conflicting reports. They say that blood type doesn't matter, but then some people say, oh, the blood type does matter. But I wouldn't think blood type would matter considering they're really only sucking up the blood for propagating young, right? It's their sustenance and it's interesting.
Okay.
Oh, is this the gargoyle again?
Vengeance at long last.
He's still got the first hidden. Now, I've noticed that lately things that can be parried slow down or dodge.
It's if I have a high toxicity.
Oh.
It's a perk I picked up.
Who did he kill now?
I don't know. He just pulped a dude's head. It looks like the person might have been...
Were they a grave robber or what?
Might have been a grave robber or a craftsman or something like that. Let's see. Last time we went to the East Coast, all the mosquitoes and bugs left your cousins and went towards you. Had a bunch of swelling. I do not miss mosquitoes.
Mm-mm. I mean, we still have mosquitoes around here. We just...
Not as many.
Mm-hmm. There were none in Kansas. It was glorious. We could actually walk outside at night and we wouldn't see a single bug hovering around the lamps.
Mm-hmm. Here or...
Kansas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kansas didn't have much for any. I think not a lot of water in that immediate area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you need standing water to breed mosquitoes. Yeah. Florida would have a ton of mosquitoes.
I think we went to the Everglades during like an off season or something. Like around spring break? That was real nice.
Damn, you're ugly.
Now, you say though that Minnesota's
bad.
Now, Wander regales me with tales of his parents going on hikes and then emerging from the forest covered in ticks.
Yep. Ticks, dead mosquitoes. One of my relatives would cover his hat in like adhesive, like mosquito bait.
Mm-hmm.
And it was...
So it was like a fly catcher or a fly tape?
Yeah.
Whatever they call it?
More or less. But it was apparently so much so that like...
It was covered.
It was gross. How cool, you say?
At that point, how would you wash it, or would you throw the hat away at that point?
You just scrape it off, I guess? Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. But...
Ticks creep me out the most when it comes... As I said before in another stream, parasites, or things that are parasitic in nature, ticks... What would you... They're not parasites in the sense that they survive for long periods of time inside you. But I suppose they do burrow. Ugh. Ugh. Ooh. Egg sacs everywhere. Wait, the people want to move back here?
Here you go. Here's your precious egg sacs. Yes, we must spawn. Really do not know if that helps me. Okay. Alright, I've been missing this. I don't like open world games in most cases, but this is one of the few that I really enjoy because every location is actually kind of different. Kind of different.
You probably could have gotten a quest from that guy.
No.
But I thought he started his sentence with "Sir."
Maybe. It's probably a quest I already had.
Oh, more drowners.
Hello, drowning boys. Man, even after all this time, that still doesn't do that much damage. Tragedies, I guess. Let's see. Hello. Hello, Cryors. How did the job applications interviews go? Ooh, Ursine Silver Sword. I really want to get the Ursine set, but I don't know where to get the base armor.
I always thought that you would favor things that have to deal with bears.
Bears. Bears are cute.
Bears are cute.
They are.
When they're roly-poly.
Yeah.
And playing or sleeping, then they're cute. But at the same time, they can be frightening. I remember when we went to the Portland Zoo and the black bears were actually having a long tussling match. Wasn't it 3 of them were involved? Except one of them was kind of off to the side and the other 2 were having fun rolling around. But yeah, they were nice. But oh, they're quite large. Grizzlies would be even larger, as well as polar bears.
I think they're just kind of cute because they trundle and they're sleepy. And that appeals to people.
Wander likes trundling.
I'm a trundle guy.
Trundle creatures.
I would say bears are compared to I don't know. God damn it.
Compared to what?
Well, you know, people will like kind of tiger moms, for example, and whatnot. You know, the trope of modeling yourself or your actions after like an animal or like a animal characteristic or something like that.
I don't think that's why. I don't think that tiger moms think I'm going to be like a tiger.
Well, it's like fiercely aggressive and pushing their kids to succeed and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
I don't actually know the origins for it. I could probably fight this thing.
Wait, a foglet? Has a peculiar cranium.
Can't tell if there's two of them.
Or if it's an illusion.
Okay, there are two of them. Enjoy fire, jerks.
Yeah, they disperse themselves into a mist. Then
Oh,
they attack.
and I'm
Did
dead.
you die?
Yeah, I died.
Oh, what was your recent save?
Probably clearing out recent location. Man, level differences are dumb. I get it, but I just don't like them. We're here.
Okay, so after you defeated the...
Yeah, but before I went to
spiders.
this island. So I think I'm just gonna hit up this island and then we'll bail.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is where I had the Ursine Silver Sword
Right.
thing pop up. So we'll just get that done. Hopefully there's a quick save option. If there is, it's harder for me to use it since I'm on a controller. If I could actually press like down on a D-pad to quick save, that'd be
Better you just
lovely.
save after every major event.
Well, it autosaves fairly consistently. It just doesn't autosave for like loot. The difference between the helicopter parents and tiger parents is tiger parent wants to fight their kids' battles for them, while helicopter parents is hovering nearby, not necessarily doing anything.
I thought helicopter parents were overprotective
Yeah.
and tiger moms were the ones pressuring their kids to succeed.
Yeah, so helicopter parents absolutely are overprotective. Tiger parents are the ones not necessarily pressuring their kids to succeed, but pressuring their kids to be better than everyone else. I would actually say your mother exhibits at least some aspects of tiger parentage.
Not when I came to schooling or anything. I
No.
was self-motivated to try to get A's.
Your mother was
such.
glad to just kind of reap the benefits, I guess.
Whereas I have friends' parents who enrolled them into several like human courses and whatever to make them exceptionally good at math.
Well,
and
I mean, I had a number of... I mean, the stereotype, at least in the 90s, was fairly real. But I had a number of Asian friends, specifically when we were in California, whose parents were hyper-aggressive about making sure their kids were ready and overeducated and honestly kind of like... Oh man, I haven't fought a wolf in forever.
weren't these the friends that could never play and they were constantly
Correct,
doing work?
constantly studying. So my one friend, James, his dad still lived and worked in China, whereas he lived in California and went to school and whatever. And I realized nowadays that, yeah, they were straight up just doing that because the education system in the U.S. is better.
Draconid nest. Need to destroy it.
Better? Don't you mean worse? Depending on where it
depends on where you are. Like, on average, the education system in the U.S. is bad, but if you want to, like, go to, say, UC Berkeley or whatever, at least at the time it was easier, a lot easier to, be local. I'm sure it was also kind of a citizenship thing and some other stuff.
More will spawn. Need to destroy the nests.
Anywho. But so, I remember we were in 4th grade. I moved away when I was in 6th grade, I think. 4th grade, his dad has... Oh, hello?
Mm-hmm.
Probably just a nice view. I really do like how the trees blow in the wind.
Oh, no. Mega Wyvern?
Found a mummy.
Royal
Edward.
Wyvern. Lucky me.
Oh, right. Probably actually grab the crossbow.
So this is the Royal Wyvern. Just like there was a Royal Griffin.
Anywho,
Is it gonna keep attempting to fly away?
maybe?
Now it just seems to be attempting to flee.
Not doing the best job of it.
Phantom of the Trade Route.
It's huge. What's the name again?
Royal Wyvern. Don't usually come this big.
It's feasted plenty, I reckon. Attacking those traveling the road. Knocked over our wagon, then chased us to the cave. We ran like hell, near lost our legs on the way. What do they call ye, master?
Geralt of Rivia.
Geralt of Rivia. It'll be a tale to tell the young'uns.
Were you supposed to talk to these guys in the cave first?
We were supposed to find their crashed,
Cart.
Yeah,
Also, there's something on the ground.
yeah, it's this. It's
Brains.
the parts and the trophy. But, no. Okay.
We need to be shown cutting it up. For the trophy.
Guess so. Sup, Roach? Roach is just here, I guess. Okay, but yeah, so, to finish my story about my friend, his dad was finally visiting, like, he almost never visited, ever. And so he was finally back in
pretty
town.
Down there.
We've been there, I believe. There wasn't
What?
anything anyway.
Oh.
Yeah. It was just like another lower entrance.
Uh-oh, someone died down here.
But yeah, so friend hadn't seen his dad in months, a while. That's really all I remember. And effectively, dad walks in, sees me, says hi. His dad was always nice to me, but we only met like twice. Aha. Enhanced feline boots.
This is quite the extensive cavern system.
But his dad comes up, hugs his kid, my friend, and then hands him a giant book of SAT prep, and then leaves, largely without a word.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back like a couple of days later, and he was upset because his dad was upset with him because he had cleared out all of the SAT books already, and he had to bring them back for the cousins back in China or something. It was something real silly, but it was one of those where, like, they effectively forced him to fill out a bunch of these giant SAT prep books in like 2 days. Like, I don't know about you, but like, my idea of fun as a 4th grader was not to sit down and do.
And in 4th grade?
Yeah.
I can understand prepping for SATs in high school, and obviously not necessarily just the year prior. Maybe if you really wanted to be prepared, you would do a couple more tests earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But in elementary and middle school?
And part of it is we did have yearly standardized testing that was also under the SAT brand, but it wasn't quite the same.
We had regions.
Yeah, but it was definitely one of those where it was just a little off-putting. I knew the poor guy was honestly trying his best and had been since I'd met him. But then years later I actually asked him like, "Hey, how did you do on the SATs when they finally came by?" And I beat him soundly with minimal prep, and I was just like, what a wasted childhood.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is really cool.
This is different. Yeah, I bet we have a quest that
I
leads
like
here.
this amphitheater.
Yeah, there's a quest that leads here. It's gotta be. Hello, lady legs. Hooey! Wee. Zoom. Aw. Oh yeah. Carol, what are you doing?
Where can you swim to from here?
Ah.
This looks like a shore that leads to nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Now, supposedly, we've got the Phantom of the Trade Route. Hello?
Well, we already killed the Phantom of the Trade Route.
Yeah.
They'll take note.
I wonder if... Oh, wait. There we go. Collect your reward. There we go. So does this guy.
Greetings.
Yeah.
I found your friends.
I have spoken to him. They're too damn bad Tom Hill didn't make it.
Oh, the guy in the cave.
Here, take this.
Thanks. Farewell.
Cool. Let's see what else we have. Oh. Oh, we didn't actually find the boot diagrams in that cave. Well, back we go.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should have checked the map. I knew there was something left in that cave. I just didn't know where it was. Let's see. But no, I don't know. I find both of those parenting styles to be weird, extremely off-putting. And I get it, like, you want your kid to succeed in the world, and you want your kid to be safe.
But hopefully you would foster a sense of curiosity, and they would want to learn information for themselves and be curious about things, so that you don't have to force it upon them. I mean, obviously they won't click with every single subject, but it's one of those things where growing up, because I was so infatuated with stories, I very much enjoyed English. I very much, because of all of the, book reading and such, I very much enjoyed history, because history is the story of our past, if you will. Granted, some books were better written than others and actually had it in a more narrative format. And there are also some teachers that could spin it into an exciting tale better than others. I never liked the teachers that were just, such and such occurred at this date,
Yep.
and then such and such occurred here.
There was a teacher at my high school. Everybody was like, oh man, Mr. So-and-so is such a good teacher. He's so hard and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll take his class. And then I get there, and yeah, that's just it. That's all he did. And sure, you really, like, if you were good at his class, you would have learned the most amount of meaningless historical dates, times, and so on and so forths. But, like, what was the point? Was no point.
I think I liked history as well because I grew up with a lot of historical movies. Some of them made back when those events occurred. So, makes sense. And then science I really wanted to excel at because I was very curious about biology and ecosystems and such. However, math was always my weakness.
I'm real good at math.
So chemistry was a little bit of a a little bit of a struggle for me. I worked my way up though. And I at the end of the year for the final test, it was interesting because I had to work up from like an average score to an A by the end of the year. And then when we had our final test, I was one of the few students that actually got above a 90. And my chemistry teacher was like, well done. Because I had been the student struggling the most in chemistry class because of the math. What's up? What's that noise? Oh, because I turned up the noise on your phone. You were looking something up?
Yeah. I don't want to spend forever looking for this thing.
You want to find the precise location of it, I see. Yeah, so, yeah, I very much enjoyed science. But math, I suppose to me, math didn't really interest me because there wasn't... And first off, there wasn't a narrative to it. And secondly, I didn't really see much immediate application into understanding your surroundings. Because with science, I enjoyed the science because I could understand why certain compounds or things occur in nature and, you know, animal behavior and how organisms function and such, you know, what kind of chemical exchanges they're having occur, what processes are happening in their body, etc. Like, so that part of science I very much enjoyed. But and then
see, like, I liked stuff like math and physics and whatnot because it was not subjective. Generally, there was one teacher that did make it subjective, but like, you know, I've had teachers that just didn't like me, and so
you liked having a right and a wrong.
Correct, because it made it very easy to improve.
True. Whereas in English, everything would be subjective.
Mm-hmm. Subjective and oftentimes almost inane.
History could be left up to interpretation too, though there were definitely factual events and factual occurrences and people.
But like, rarely did a fact in history, for example, lead to an immediate... Where the heck? It's supposed to be a chest, like, along the sides here. I might have...
Are you sure you didn't already loot it accidentally?
Then the quest marker would have
nah,
updated.
You're right.
Unless I did. Yeah, it's supposed to be on the sides. Unfortunately, it's really dark. And half the time when I go into Witcher Sense mode, it's just like, bleh. I just passed it. Yeah, I don't see the... Oh, here it is.
There.
Okay, yeah, so I've already looted it. Weird.
Do you just need to go to the marker then? Or wait, no, use what your senses.
I have been.
Oh, you have been?
Yeah.
The whole time.
that's most definitely it. Oh.
Yeah, so I think we've covered the 4 core topics. I suppose the only other remaining ones would be phys ed and art and music.
Well, maybe I already have the boots. Here, I'm gonna go to Novigrad, see if I can get it.
Though music for people was entirely optional.
Music was. And I think that's good and bad. I think, I think one of the biggest failings of schooling is inflexibility when it comes to, like, creative topics, and also this, like, weird dismissiveness to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, they're just the music kids. They're the art kids. There's something less respectable about being creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always kind of hated that mentality because...
Well, and
that's how you get stupid, boring kids.
There are studies that show that those who excel in arts and music... I mean, music is associated with mathematical... some mathematical understanding. Or maybe understanding math helps you with music, or vice versa. I don't know. I suppose for me, music was more intuitive and less structured. And I know that when you're writing music, yes, there's definitely a structure, and you have to know where the notes go, and, you know, tempos and scales and everything. I tend to do a lot of music by ear. And then with art, yes, there's techniques, but once again, it's like any other craft where you can bend the rules and experiment with new ways of accomplishing what you want.
First Robotics is a lot of fun. Depends on who's running it.
Robotics was always an after-school activity for us.
Yeah,
I don't think there was a class.
It was an after-school activity for us as well. But the robotics teachers in my high school were awful in terms of they just let whomever do whatever. And what ended up happening is that meant they just let people bully other people freely without stepping in. So, like... Oh, yeah, we should probably go see Roche. Not quite yet. We'll get a couple more of these. But so, like, I showed up, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to join. And they're like, cool, yeah. And then this shithead kid stole my backpack. And I go to one of the teachers, and I'm like, yo, like, it's time for me to leave, and one of the club members has stolen my stuff, and hid it or locked it away or whatever, and, you know, they're just not letting me... I effectively can't leave until I have my stuff back. God damn it. Alright, no, that's not it.
Oh, high level at these? Oh, no. They're level 30.
Can't hurt me if I'm slaying your friends. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so, shithead kid steals my backpack.
Ow.
And the teacher is effectively just kind of like, cool, well, that's your problem. Like, he just didn't care.
Ah.
And I get it, like, he's not really being paid. Actually, I don't actually know if you get... God
the archer is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, because so long as you can knock these guys down, you can get the insta-kill on them.
Oh, I also don't have my potions running. That's the other thing. But, so... Effectively, the teacher said, well, you're gonna have to talk to him to get your stuff back, and then went back to whatever the hell he was doing. And that was the moment where I just gave up on joining the club. And it wasn't that it was a particularly unpopular club, so I'm sure they could get around this. But it was definitely one of those where it's like... I was one of the founding members. I'd stopped for a while because they actually had budgetary issues and more or less had to, like, cut people from the club. So I was just like, alright, whatever, I'll come back in a couple of years when I'm older. Because They had locked it off to juniors and seniors only due to we didn't have enough money to get enough, like, first kits or something like that. Ow. And then, yeah, I come back a couple years later when it's like, hey, yeah, now I'm a junior.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just gonna hang out here and do this. But yeah, so what I ended up having to do was clobber the kid with... what did I hit him with? It was probably some kind of tool. Because he thought it would be great to go from stealing my shit to,
Assailing you with it.
Yeah, he wasn't hitting me with my backpack. He was hitting me with something. But he was absolutely, like, standard problem child. Nobody ever told him no. And so, yeah, I smack him across the hand, I think? Probably with, like, a small wrench or something like that. I don't even remember what it was. And so he goes weeping to this teacher.
But that's the thing. That's what they always do. The bully incites someone to react in self-defense, and then they go off and, oh, so-and-so hit me, even though they were the ones tormenting you first. And usually there happens to be a witness for the second thing and not what they were doing.
And so, I had specifically been brought on to work on the first Robotics website, because I guess they had a website they wanted to get going and, like, some other stuff and organizational things. And I had been in charge of putting it together, and I'd been working on it kind of on my own time because, you know, I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to do that while I was at the club, so I was like, okay, sure. You know, I'll work on the website and then, you know, learn how to put together robots during the actual club. Which turns out to be a scam because, no, I was, despite working on all of this back-end tech stuff to make the club better, that did not actually afford me any extra benefits to the club itself, so I was back in line for learning after Shithead Kid. So I clobber Shithead Kid. He goes to the teacher. Teacher's like, you know, yelling at me because, of course, I've clobbered a kid with a tool, which, yeah, very much probably not supposed to do that, especially not on club grounds, but kid was hitting me with stuff first. I didn't see how this was unfair. What the hell? Oh. Bugs. Oh. Never mind. Geralt!
Yeah! Because these guys can't be knocked down.
Yeah, one beef I have with this game is running away is kind of weird and dumb.
You can't jump over things.
Yeah, if you are in combat, Geralt will not climb. Okay, I give up. This whole area is going to be overleveled.
Yep.
Dumb. Because this quest here is level 12, so I was like, maybe it's just that area, but the answer is no. So, teacher comes at me, yelling at me, more or less being like, you know, you do not do this in this club. And I'm like, he hit me first. And he's like, that doesn't matter. You know, you're better than this. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not actually better than this. If somebody hits me, I hit him back. That's the rules. I'm still mad about this. And I'm like, look, I know where my stuff is. It's locked in the tech closet because you gave Shitheel Kid the key. Get him to get my stuff back. And the teacher, like, yeah, gets my stuff back, which is good because it was like closing time and I couldn't leave. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna go find somebody more important than can get into this room if you don't. And he yells at me, gets me my stuff, and then as I'm leaving, he's like, oh yeah, what about the website? And I'm like, I laughed in his face, and I never saw him again because I was a senior. Like, I didn't care. I'd already gotten accepted to college and everything, so it was just like, well.
Wait, kids were hitting each other and they were seniors?
I was a senior. This kid was a freshman or a sophomore.
Oh, but still.
It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're a shithead, you're going to be a shithead no matter.
I mean, I can give a pass to
middle schoolers,
maybe middle schoolers.
But high schoolers, no.
Not
there was
high
something
schoolers.
wrong with this kid. I'd seen him before, and he had decided he hated me from the moment he saw me, hence his behaviors. But like, yeesh.